Okay, Director Rebecca Lindor here, Karen Paul here, and Chair George Riley.
Yeah, here. Well, everyone present, it's quorum. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? None, okay?
I'll have one revision at the origin at the end.
Okay, we'll get to that, when we get to that point. Anybody from the public, online or not here?
We have one staff member as attendee, however, no public, members of the public.
Okay, back to the committee. So the action items, they largely look like what's gonna be headed for the consent calendar. Yeah, so, next, the first item is the minutes of the last meeting. There were two of us here. I move approval. I looked at them and I have nothing to say, nothing to add.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. It's item number one. Item number two, resolution for amending fees and charges. It's a Rule 60 requirement. New 60 we need to amend. Okay, who wants to present this? There you are.
Saying that, my name is Kyle Smith, Water Demand Division. So we are just making two changes to the fees and charges table. The first one is we are removing the scanned plans. We are no longer going to be offering that service. So we have removed that from the table. And then we're just making one other change to the thumb drive. So if somebody comes in and wants to get documents on a thumb drive, they can either provide the thumb drive or it'll be the actual cost of the thumb drive itself.
I've got a couple of questions, but the other committee members if they want to go first.
I'll go after you, Joe.
Okay, so we're no longer doing it because we don't have to do it because there's another system in place which is online, right?
Right, and all the cities and county require plans to be submitted digitally. And those are shared with us through our conserved email and then reviewed by staff. So, yeah.
And I just want to I want you to remind us about the water distribution system. What creates a water distribution system? How many outlets? How many?
4 or more connections, or no. It could be as small as a single connection for a single family. Could receive a water distribution system permit.
So system is a little bit misleading just in terms of the word itself. I understand, and I'm not trying to argue that.
Okay.
But system makes me think more than one. And that's why I was asking, what's the number and what is it? But it can be from one. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Those are my two questions.
I actually don't have questions about the changes, the two very simple changes. Those are, I have a few questions about the existing rules, but I could ask them. I don't think it's necessary to take time at this meeting. I could probably get them answered another time. We'll keep everybody waiting. Just I wasn't familiar with the details of all these rules, so I had a few questions about some of them.
Well, I'm going to suggest, Karen, if you want to ask a question, it's better at this meeting.
Okay, all right then. So are there definitions somewhere in the like flagrant violation, is that defined somewhere?
Let's see, where are we?
So I'm looking at under water waste fees, Rule 162 in the table. It's on page 15 of the agenda packet.
What number on the far left column are you looking at, or just category?
60.
Okay.
60, and then the several following that.
Yes, I believe those are defined in Rule 162 and also in Rule 11 in our definitions.
Good, that's good. And then I guess my other question about that is just that the fees for violations seem very modest. And I was just wondering if you ever considered, if staff considered, or the board had ever considered raising those fees for violations, or how often you even, also how often these are even used?
We tried to avoid the, going to the fine, because that would be a violation that's happened multiple times, so we've gone out and tried to, work with the violator and getting repaired. The last time these were adjusted, it was a million gallons a year, I believe, that, you had to use for the fines to be tripled, so that was lowered to, 500,000 gallons a year. That was the only time that's kind of increased, I believe.
Okay.
But we could consider increasing those.
Yeah, usually we do a fix-it ticket first,
Mhm.
and that typically gets their attention, but then the first violation, it's a small amount, but it usually gets
People's,
gets
If
the
people-
attention. Yeah,
and that's the goal.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and flagrant violation is in our, you go to Rule 11, that's all the definitions of the district.
Okay, good. All right. Well, that's it for me. Thank you.
So I have one more question. It's on this idea, but not related to this item.
Okay.
I live right near the Old Del Monte Golf Course. There's a running leak, pretty substantial, right at the intersection, just two houses away from me. And it's been running for 3 days. So I went over to the golf course this morning and said, who's responsible? I've seen a Cal-Am truck there, but I've also seen other trucks there with, I didn't recognize the construction company and so on, in the past few days. And they've had a problem there for probably 3 months. There was an underground, leak of somehow, took out a lot of dirt. The roadway stank. There's another hole in the middle of the street in that little intersection there. Anyway, they said that they, part of their golf course is watered with well water on the uphill side, which I was glad to hear that. I didn't know that. But they said it's a well leak. So now my question is, how bad must a well leak be in order for it to be considered a waste? And then do we have jurisdiction over Cal-Am pumping a well or a?
Well, it's really Del Monte Golf Courses. We helped them put in 2 wells,
Okay,
and then they were gonna install a lake between, I think, holes 5 and 6. Any memory on that, Mike? You kind of, it's in that area. Then they decided against the lake, but they've mastered the art. And so what the plan was, fill the lake, use it as a supply source, early morning hours, over the evening. They figured out how to just use the 2 wells that they helped build. But getting all the way to the road, when you're talking Castro,
yeah.
I can't imagine that it has anything to do with the irrigation system.
Well, they denied any awareness that it's in their jurisdiction about how to deal with that. They think it's Cal-Am because they put in the pipe for the pump, I mean, the well and the transmission of wherever it goes. And
Yeah,
I just didn't know if I were gonna call somebody about a leak. I'm gonna call Cal-Am.
yeah, I don't think there's any Cal-Am production wells in that area. The only wells are the ones for irrigation for the golf course, and Cal-Am would have no responsibility for that. But whenever you see a leak like that, let us know, and then we typically let Cal-Am know. You may, for example, have seen water on the side of the Highway 68 near the Highway 1 on-ramp. We've tried multiple times to figure out that source, and we've had Cal-Am out there, and they typically do a chlorine test, but chlorine off gases pretty quickly, so you never really know for sure if it didn't originate with that. But any of those long-standing leaks, if there's not activity, because we've got a 72-hour fix-it ticket on major leaks. So
Well, can I just
if
kind
the
of,
Cal-Am truck was out there, though,
can
they'll
I
try to get to the bottom.
report to your staff at the
Yeah.
intersection of Castro Way and Castro Road, the little triangle there,
Mhm.
and that's where the water, and you can see it. I mean, it's obvious. It's running down the street. Anyway, I'm reporting that to the.
So reported.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about item number two, the amending the fees and charges table, Rule 60? No, I'm gonna just move approval.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Motion carries. And these recommendations, by the way, are report to the board to be on their agenda for approval. That's what these motions. Okay. Item number three, contract with True Point Solutions. Hi there and welcome.
Thanks, you guys. I'll be standing for Stephanie Kister today, going over our ask of $19,500 to contract with True Point Solutions to improve our database. This is where we store all of our permitting, our inspection reports, everything gets stored in this one database. As you can imagine, from time to time, databases need upgrading. This is that time. So this will be up to 100 hours of their work. So we may not spend all 19,500. Although, given the state of the database, that may be necessary. This is a new company, so right now we're working with them to get our mobile app working. So inspection reports are currently done on paper tally sheets, which introduces human error and paperwork that may be unnecessary. So moving to a mobile app version, they're currently working with us on that. Based on how that relationship goes, we'd like to move forward and do a full revisit of how our database is working and introduce a new function for the public to access their permitting requests and see the progress on them, pay fees online, download forms, and have it all in one central location. So that would be part of this contract.
You said it's a new company. It's a new company to the district, but it's not a new company in operation.
Right.
It's been around.
Counties install a database, and I've worked with their product, and it's very nice. So I'm happy to see that we were moving forward with 2 Point.
Good. Any questions from the committee?
I have a question.
Yes.
It's handling the migration of data from one database to the databases.
Database, but they're updating the backend tables, so all the data will be the same. They would be handling if there needed to be a transfer into their new table type. It would be done.
No missing links, that sort of thing.
We'll put them to the test. This will be my third database migration.
Oh, you want to come do ours then?
So I'm excited to do another one. If you guys will let me.
Is there training involved?
Yeah, so meeting is included in this, and also we would kind of be training them, right? Our database is so niche to our needs that we would be explaining it to them, although this is a very well-known product for districts and public databases, so it's not that much, honestly.
Okay, if there are no more comments, is there a motion to recommend approval?
I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Welcome again. So, first time I've seen you in action. I know you've been introduced before. Okay, item number 4, Kyle, you're on again.
I'm back.
Annual update of Rule 24.
Yes, so this is to update our capacity fee history. We charge capacity fees on our water permits for fixtures added. Each year it is increased by the CPI, San Francisco, Oakland. And this year it was 3.8%, which is reflected in the new table.
You know, I was looking at this and I was just thinking 3.8. Yeah, okay, I understand. CPI. And then I looked at, so what's the difference? What's 3.8 of 38? I mean, how did it get there? How much was an increase of that? And then you have a chart here, so I thought, yeah, it looks like $1,500.
Yep,
This is just a motion to update the table.
correct. And this will go into effect July 1.
And this is on the website.
Correct.
Anyway, so the rest of my thought was, it's just more substantial than you think, if you just look at real dollars. And I just thought, yeah, well, this is household and inflation, it's a big discussion all over TV everywhere. But when you got a little higher base to work with, then even a small percentage turns out to be a lot.
But think of it as an impact fee, and these impact fees, you get, depending on where you live, you may have a design review board fee, you may have, you know, local jurisdictional fee, and then our capacity fee. They do add up, and they are a barrier to development in some respects. So from time to time, we talk about taking a good hard look at it. 38,000, even though your typical remodel may be for 1/10 of an acre foot or something like that. When the new Marriott came in Sand City, it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So these are not insignificant. So we may take a look at the whole thing again. The last time we talked about taking a look at it, we then spent a bunch of money on ASR with a new backflush pit and a treatment building. We front loaded the Pure Water Monterey costs, and we did Sleepy Hollow renovations. And so the reason for the capacity fee is, in effect, you're
Okay, I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Going to item 5, limited term field positions for summer assistance.
Yes, my name is Thomas Christensen. I'm with the Environmental Resources Division, and we're bringing this to you today. It's a request to authorize funds for contracting with our limited term field positions. These are the folks that help us with fish rescue. We typically hire 3 to 4 folks to do this work. And we use them for all the fish rescue activities. We use them for vegetation management activities where we actually have to go in the river with chainsaws and pull brush and move logs around to clear obstructions. We also use them to run the Sleepy Hollow facility on the weekends or help at the Sleepy Hollow facility during the week. And they get into all sorts of things like cleaning out the garage and scanning documents and washing cars and doing stuff like that. So in general, this value here that we're asking for, the 71,874, is to actually cover in case we get it in a drought. Typically, we use a lot less. For example, we're finishing our fiscal year and it's only about 38,000. Last year's cost. So typically it comes in quite a bit lower, but we always have to put in this little bit higher value in case we have a drought year next winter and we have to get into the river early in spring to deal with smolts. They are limited term positions. They don't get any health benefits. Some contracts are short for like 380 hours, and sometimes if it's someone who has a lot of availability, it will be around 900 hours for as long as until they don't run out. They can't exceed 1,000 hours because that would trigger some issues with coverage with medical and things of that nature. So in short, it's 2,970 hours at $22 an hour is what we pay them.
And this includes payroll costs and.
Yeah, it
and
includes
fiscal,
the overhead. Yes, that is correct.
So do you get a lot of repeat?
We do, we typically, it's usually not for more than about 2 years. If somebody really enjoyed the work and then they had to go back down to college and then they come back up for the summer, they will ask for a repeat. And that usually helps us because we don't have to train them again. But everybody goes through an interview process, and it's typically recent graduates who are trying to build their resume or people in their last couple years of college. And we've even hired high school graduates that have just a real passion for working outdoors and have some knowledge about steelhead and stuff. So it's a little bit of everything.
So in terms of total people, only 4 or 5 people you said?
Yeah, typically 3, but this year we might experiment with 1 additional person to help on if somebody wants to go camping with their parents or leave for a week, then we'd have someone that can just step in and help with the fish rescue. Kind
So
of on
what
the
is the
side.
prognosis? This is probably also directed to other people, of the drought, the La Nina year and the potential drought.
Yeah, so we have El Nino potentially forecasted for next
Nino,
year.
okay.
Yeah, but where in our particular area, it's equal chances for wet or dry. El Nino is typically always wetter in Southern California, but we're right on the borderline and it's typically dry in the Pacific Northwest. So we can go either way. So we don't really know which way we're going.
Yeah, the Bay Area is expecting their first 3-digit temperatures possibly later this week.
Ooh,
So if we were to fall into a 2 to 3 month high temperature situation, obviously it would exacerbate conditions.
Yeah, heat waves in the summer make a big difference on flows. So we're always kind of on the lookout for that. We can lose flow and a stretch can start drying up more rapidly during the summertime for sure. So
yeah, I know we've been doing this for a while. I can see this as an annual thing. Is a motion for recommend approval?
Move to approve.
I second your,
So all in favor, say aye.
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 okay.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you.
So item number 6 on well contractor.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi.
Item number 6 is to authorize funds to hire a well contractor to support ASR. So we obviously operate our ASR program, and we have a bunch of facilities out there that we're using. And we typically come every year to set aside some funds in case for a emergency. I was about to say rainy day, but that's a good thing at ASR. So an emergency, if we were needed to have a emergency well repair, especially now with the situation we're in, because we only have ASR 1 and 2 to operate, so we don't really have any redundancy. So we would like to, in the past, this has happened, and we learned our lesson where we would run out and fix it on an emergency basis, and then come to you with the general manager's authority and just say, hey, this was an emergency, we did this. But we learned to ask for a certain threshold, and if we don't tip over that threshold, we can just get it taken care of. And if we do, we can come and do what we've done in the past. So there's a specific contractor that has a C57 contractor's license that is necessary to perform this type of work. And there's a few of them. So this is just to give us the ability to hire one of 3 local ones based on availability if we were to get into an emergency.
Can you name the 3 just in case?
Yes, there is Zim who drilled our wells. There's Majora Brothers, and there's Celine's Pump that I would probably pick up and call first.
Okay. I just saw a new pumper contractor out near where I was talking
Yeah,
about. where the leak
do you know
was.
who it was?
I don't remember. I remember it wasn't Peninsula Engineering. That's the only thing I remember. I see them everywhere.
Yeah, they don't have a C57 license.
Okay.
Just one
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So have we used all 3 of the ones you just mentioned?
Yes, they've done. There's an independent guy that Michael Anderson, who does a lot of work. He works in the valley. We've used him as well, and so we have used all of these people in different. And they're, some of them are better at different things, and we've learned that too. And so, but obviously, if it was an emergency, we'd just go with who could.
Who's available if you
Yeah.
need something done right away?
Yeah.
I have a question. Your, it says that under the ASR, agreement, all same repair performed on district-owned ASR facilities are reimbursable. Reimbursable to whom?
To Cal-Am,
Okay,
yeah. So it is still paid by, it's still absorbed by the ratepayer, but through the mechanism of it's a joint program, and the way that it was worked out at the beginning of the commencement of the program was instead of taking the water, injecting the water, and then turning around and charging Cal-Am to pump the water, it was just we would go in on the venture together. They would absorb the cost to create the water and put it in the ground. There'd be no more money that changed hands. But so there's we're on what now, Dave? It's called the amended, restated. Yeah. So it times out about every 10 years, and you have to kind of renegotiate it. So we went through that in 2020.
okay.
Okay, no further questions or comments?
I move we recommend approval to the board.
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much. Item number 7, general managers, the painting contract.
Hello.
Mhm.
ASR was last painted in 2013. The ASR 1 and ASR 2 wellheads, as well as some peripheral piping that we have on site. I reached out to 3 contractors. One we used before, the other was recommended by Monterey One Water, and the third was just local outreach for people who do industrial painting. We received 2 quotes back. The quotes were very similar in price, but the contractor who painted our wells the last time had some ideas for these pipes that we have overhanging our backflush basin. And the other bidding or quoting contractor was unable to quote on that particular piece of work. So we're requesting to go with Isaacson Painting in an amount not to exceed $28,000.
Good. 2013,
Mhm.
that was the last time? Well,
Yeah, we can see the ocean from our front yard.
any questions or comments?
Special type of paint for this use?
Yes, there is, and you've got a sandblast, we have moss growing on the pipes overhanging the basin, you've got to get that off. For the bulk of the wellhead piping, there's a coating and paint on top of that, it's marine grade.
Interesting. I'm glad you asked the question because I had some questions too about it, and then I forgot to make a note.
Well, if it has to last so many years, better be done right.
And they did it last time, right?
Yes.
So it lasted 13 years.
Yeah.
Okay, some things you just have to do regardless. Okay, any other comments or questions? I have none. Okay, all in favor, say.
No, it has to be a motion. I move we recommend approval.
Second,
And good, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much. Item number 8, laboratory support.
Okay, we use Monterey Bay Analytical Services, which is ironically who your new water demand manager who worked for a long time. And we use it for our ASR program, our support of the water master, the work we do for them. We use it for all the water quality work that we do in the Carmel Valley and all the water quality work that we do in the river. And so we have we use them for many different programs. So we're asking for the lump sum of all of those programs. But when we do use them, we code them by the program to go through. So we're just going to use them for their services, and they bill us on a net 30. So you put it in there, and then they send you a bill and you pay it in 30 days. And then we just code it to the right GL that we're doing related to the projects. And some of this work that goes with the ASR program is reimbursable to Cal-Am. So it goes into that, the ASR agreement speaks to that. And then the work for the water master, we are reimbursed for that. So that this is a charge to them. And we just pass the actual charge of each individual analysis. And that's just a pass through on our billing to the water master.
And they bill in such a way that it makes it easy for you to allocate the correct codes.
We have to be smart about how you fill out what's called a chain of custody sheet. And so it basically says, I had this water until I gave it to you, and now you have it. And as long as we keep the chain of custody submittals separated by project, then yeah, the bills are separated by project. So we have to be smart enough to do that, but we're good at that.
Good, interesting. Any other comments or questions? In some of the programs that we have, or the responsibilities that we have, it's nice. For me, I think it's nice that we're the ones that will do the work. Probably because we're good at the data, good at mixing, partnering, not say partnering, and them on their own don't have the skill sets or maybe even a lot of the background and nor the direct responsibility that we do. I'm just glad we're in this position of partnering. That's a
Yeah,
strange way of
and I
saying
think that it came around that way with the water master, because when the basin was adjudicated, the monitoring network was a court mandated document. That was a requirement to come up with a monitoring network. The district came to the table and said, we have this monitoring network. And then there was additional wells all added to the monitoring network and encompassed in it. And the district at that point in time said, we already have boots on the ground. We already have people in trucks. We already have all the equipment. Just pay us for our time to do it. And that was how that came about.
Yeah, good to get it explained a little bit, clarified to me, but I'm still glad we're in a partnering world and we're good at it. You guys are good at it. Okay. Well, I'll move approval on this one, and it's to recommend approval to the board.
I second your motion.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. That's item number 8. Item number 9, amendment with Montgomery and Associates.
Yeah, this is kind of in the same vein as the keep a well driller, keep funds to pay a well driller, because as we're developing out the Pure Water Monterey expansion project, we just went last year through the big effort of getting the Title 22 engineering report submitted and approved, got our permit. However, we're still in the middle of doing tracer tests that are required by the permitting and there are a number of things that are laying out in that report that now we're having to do to be compliant with our permitting. And so we've used this modeler and this specific model through all of the Title 22 engineering reports to support the standing up of the Pure Water Monterey base and expansion projects. And so we're asking, should we be asked a question about our regulator that would require modeling? We could get on that without having to come to the board and kind of wait another month cycle to do that. And so this would be to establish that with them. And there's a secondary reason too is the water master has on their agenda this year to update this model. And so we will want to have some analysis of that and some opinions formed on our side as we ask some of the questions and participate technically in that process as well.
Montgomery, when they contract directly with Watermaster, and then they contract with us too, it seems to me a lot of the same data is used in the same reports. I don't know what the difference is so much, but I just see them at the Watermaster often. And it seems to me, I can't say this for sure, but it seems to me the work they're doing is very similar to the work they do for us.
Yeah, I mean, it is with the same model on the same basin. There's a effort right now because of the Monterey sub area, which is the Sigma sub area, which is the one just north. An area is to try to, they have a model too. So we're trying to rectify those two model edges together with each other. And so there's a lot of work that Montgomery is trying to do. They're also present at the the Monterey GSA as well, because they're running those models. And so they're the ones we're trying to stitch those two together so we can take the output from one model and put it into our model. But the modeling that they're doing for the water master is largely in support of the seawater intrusion response plan. And the modeling they do for us is largely in support of the pure water Monterey and the operations and understanding that. So it's looking at different problems, but with the same tool.
And the second one you mentioned is the one that kind of butts up against the GSA from,
Yes, that'll have to be addressed when we, the water master has actually, we're going to partner with the water master and share funding, which would be a secondary. There's already money in the budget that's been carried over and over and over from years ago from an agreement we made where the water master, Monterey One Water, and us are going to jointly fund this because we all three use this model. So we're going to jointly fund this update. And so anything we need to do on our end, we could use, to get our house in order, we could use Montgomery to then bring to that group. And so they are very integrated, but the matching up of those models will be done kind of on that water master level project.
so I'm just curious how, so you have data, I'm gonna say the water master's boundary line. Our interest in that little northern area is a little different, a little more larger than what the water master looks at. And then the Sigma look from the other side. What's the process of integrating the trends, whatever they're learning? What's the process of integrating the thought process, the data, how do you make decisions? I mean, and maybe decision is not the right word, but how do you kind of create an understanding that you can work together when your data is separate?
So if you talk about the boundary of the Seaside Basin, and you're going to try to analyze what's happening at that boundary, your model has to extend much further past it. So the boundary conditions that you assign at that boundary aren't influencing right where you're trying to get an answer. So their model spread way down into our area and our model spread way up into their area. So it's not just kind of at a zipper line.
Okay, that says a lot to me. Okay. Okay, learn a lot.
And I think we're trying to and get more data in the future that could help feed into these models. If we are successful in some of the things we're looking to do, if we can build more data, then that helps integrate those different models. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does, because it gives you a better understanding of what you feel your responsibility is, and the same data, I mean, even though it's extended, gives them a better understanding of what they're dealing with, because the influences are the same, not the same, but they interface.
Well, and I think too that largely in the past, before Pure Water Monterey came online in 2020, a lot of the work done was on the coast. We were trying to make sure no seawater intrusion was coming. But now that we've got a major project with almost 6,000 acre feet, and including ASR running through that area, we really want to get more monitor wells out there, really understand that area, because our focus has now really changed to look at a different part of the basin, and then what's happening, what that's doing to the boundary between the two basins is the more important to us now.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm just glad to see. I'm glad to see, I don't know, how you work together if your data stops at a certain line. It doesn't. So I understand that now, and I understand it better.
Good questions.
So I'll move approval of this too.
I second your motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Jonathan. We're still seeing you on the next one, item 10.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay, this one is for we have for over 20 years been a cooperator with the United States Geological Survey. They have 2 gauges in on the Carmel River main stem. One is called near Carmel, and one is called Robles del Rio, and we're a co-sponsor of the Robles del Rio gauge. You can find that gauge and the data on that on our interactive map. And we've worked with them. They worked with us to help us pull the data from their backside on their API on their database, so we can pull it into ours. And so some of this is helping us with that as well, and kind of interact with it. This is the gauge also that none of our work funds any of this, but this is the NOAA predictor gauge that they predict what's going to happen with response to rainstorms on the river. So we use this one a lot, which is kind of one of the reasons why this has been our gauge for a long time. And it is a gauge that is called out specifically in our water rights permits. So we need to keep this gauge running. If the USGS for some reason were to walk off, we'd have to do this gauge.
So how long has USGS have had the gauge Robles?
I think 1954.
And then who owns the near Carmel? Yeah.
That's the county resources agency supports that one because they use for flood control.
Flood control. And if okay, so they're still around. Okay. Any more you need to really think again about, is that service still being served, paid for by the federal government? That's what I'm thinking about, all the cuts that have been going on.
They successfully billed us, so.
All right, any questions or comments from the committee?
So you're looking at 21,000
Yes,
and last year it was like 28,000. That's what I'm looking at this attachment you had.
that's the entire cost of it, and so their cost share is about that 8,000 or 7,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're definitely paying 2/3 of it.
Got it. All right.
And that's kind of their model, is the USGS will go out and find partner agencies and keep it going, but do all the data for them. And it's one of our main gauges that tells us whether we can divert or not. And so it is kind of, when we submit our water rights, it's not us watching ourselves. It's the USGS doing the data that so I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's not us, it's them. I don't have any other questions.
That's probably good
Okay.
arrangement.
Well, and good for them trying to find a partner. I mean, we do the same thing. So. Okay, is there a motion on?
I move we recommend approval.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. I just want to just remind the committee, but also just to say it. These are all of the things we just acted on, almost all of them. The contracts that we're looking at are continuation contracts to maintain the service that we've been maintaining for years.
Mhm.
And we were warned before that come May and June, we'll be getting a cycle of new contracts, but they're discontinuing contracts of sorts. The vendor may change, the price may change, but the service won't, or whatever the objective of the service. So anyway, that's kind of just a reminder of what we've been doing with this committee past couple of meetings.
These are the ones that we're not ready for the May board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 11 is the treasurer's report for April.
This is me.
Mhm.
Hello, I'm Keith Rayburn. I'm the accountant here. Haven't met
Okay,
you
no,
guys.
good. It said welcome to our committee, but also welcome in general, and
Yeah,
nice
thanks.
meeting you.
So we've got the treasurer's report for April here. And it's showing our cash and investments balances, which are staying at right around 33 million. And so this balance reflects what we have in our 2 bank accounts, our checking account and our money market account, and then our 3 investment accounts, Class, Leaf, and multi-bank securities. And for April, it was pretty typical expenditures and receipts. Nothing out of the ordinary. I think March had quite a bit more expenditures than this month. And so 11A is the treasurer's report, 11B is the checks report, and then 11C is the statement of revenue and expenditures, which is just kind of showing our progress so far.
So anything in particular that we should
Not
call out for attention?
Not really. The big expenditures this month were typical, like monthly expenditures, just the water purchase and then the check to Monterey One for urban community draft. So nothing exciting.
And when you're moving money around, I'm looking at the investment accounts up
Yes.
above. I think this is your pattern, but my question is this the pattern?
Mhm.
When you need money, you go to LAIF first?
Yeah, the 2 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the money market, what's, I mean, I know there's an in and out
Yeah,
process.
it's kind of the inverse of that. So money market's sitting there ready to go. You see, we moved 4.6 million over. And then to replenish the money market, move the 2 million over from LAIF. So LAIF's a pooled investment account held by the state treasurer.
Right.
Money market's a little more liquid, sitting at Bank of America, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so as you begin to like track payroll or certain contractual commitments, then you kind of take from one, make it liquid in the checking account. And
You take the money market because it's more liquid?
Yeah,
and then refill it with LAIF.
And then refill it. Yeah.
Okay, so your priority for moving money in the short term is using the money market, and you backfill it with
And
LAIF.
you
Okay,
can- And you can see that the very first line fees and deposits. So the money market is where a bunch of the deposits go. But because we had a big number in checking, moving 4.6 million over there. We moved that from the money market, 3.9 came in, and so it was identified that we need to kind of replenish the money market, so we moved it from LAIF, so it's kind of.
okay, I knew this happened, but I was trying to get,
Yeah.
what is the priority, what is the standard pattern, or what's the approach, and you just
Yeah,
explained
Class and
it.
LAIF are kind of the same thing, they're pooled investment accounts. Easy to move the money. The multi-bank securities are negotiable CDs, so typically you ladder them out and you wait for them to mature. And so we kind of look at that with a longer term perspective, like how much money can we bury for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months. LAIF and Class are more like 6 months or less. And then the money market is just kind of a holding bin for the bank.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sometimes the questions get asked, but the answers clarify the purpose of the question, even though the question was a little weird. Okay, thank you for that.
You have to know something to ask the right questions.
Well, knowing too little, you just go down a track and you wonder where it's gonna end up. Okay, any other comments or questions about the treasurer's report? At all?
I move that we recommend, or do you have a question? No, I was gonna make a motion,
Okay, oh, good, I'm looking for a motion.
but do you have a question?
Well, just how long have you been working with the district?
Like 1.5 years, almost 2 years, I think. Yeah.
Good to meet you.
It's really good and highly valued, very tucked away in a dark cave. I can get an album.
Do not disturb, I'm crunching numbers sign on the door, huh? Don't make me lose my place.
Also get the musician.
Oh, piano,
Guitar, singing.
you'll have to
Sorry.
come entertain us. Yeah,
Isn't John a musician as well? Yeah. Do you have a horn player anywhere? Okay, we'll do business here.
So I move that we adopt the treasurer's report and recommend it to the board.
I second you.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you all very much. So that's the action items.
Thanks, Heath.
Any comments or questions about any information items, and then we'll jump to the agenda, or maybe whatever else we have on the agenda. Any questions? I have none.
I have none.
I don't.
Okay, let's go to item 13, the ownership issue. You know, I'm getting a lot of questions, believe it or, I mean, I get them a lot, but seems to me in the past month I've gotten them more, maybe twice as many as I normally get. And even that's maybe 6. So, you know, people are out there, but anyway, they see me and they say, tell me where you stand on buying Cal-Am. It's
Yeah.
been going on forever. I said, yeah, tell me
Get
about it.
asked that pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one question that constantly gets
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah.
Constantly.
The minute they find out you're on the board, that's the number one question. So what's going on?
Yeah, and Phil
Yeah.
just beat us up on that issue last Thursday. So we're trying to update the website, but it's very difficult to explain in layman's terms some things that are going on in the courts
Yeah.
and why. So,
Yeah.
for example, last Wednesday, the Supreme Court heard the arguments,
good.
in-person arguments on the Apple Valley / South San Joaquin conflict. So there are things that are happening, but you know, we've got our mini bench trial on October 19th related to latent powers, but not related to the right to take. And so trying to explain these nuances in a meaningful way, we're going to have to do it.
It's
But
challenging, yeah.
Maybe give us some talking points that don't violate any confidentiality or
Yeah.
Brown Act rules would be nice too. The wheels of justice move very slowly.
We can certainly put together like an FAQ type sheet for the board members if that's what you'd like.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And then post it on the website. That would be used, I think.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. You know, again, the part of the problem is, you know, it's constantly evolving. You know, dominoes are starting to fall. Unfortunately, we're just one of the last dominoes. So
We can make a T-shirt with pictures of dominoes with all shit.
yeah,
Was there a transcript of the argument at the Supreme Court?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
But there will be.
Yeah.
If it comes out, we can share it. Yeah.
Well, I tell people that I say for 2 reasons. I say, if you were Cal-Am, or if you own the business and we're trying to take it over, and we're going to take 22% of your revenue stream, you'd fight like hell, wouldn't you? And I said, yeah, and I don't know if it's a bad argument or not, but I say that's the situation. But that's also the scale of the problem. They make all this money off of you guys, and we're trying to eliminate the profit side of it, and that's what they're all in for. So I said, that's why we're fighting this hard as we are. And then I say, and they're fighting every legal way they can, and it takes forever. But that's kind of how I leave it, because I don't know a schedule. I can't predict much. I can say maybe this year and next year, between the 2 years, we might be learning enough that we might be able to move forward. But that's kind of the timetable that I can kind of think about or repeat to them.
One of the things that I've done is if they have like serious concerns of like, you know, this is really good and it would help me if you emailed those concerns to me.
If you email.
Email the concerns to me and then I'll pass them on to the board, and so far nobody's taken me up on that. They just wanted to complain, you know.
Well, yeah, but that's all right. I mean, but I take the complaints.
Yeah, those are great points. Email them to me so I don't miss anything.
Yeah, I'm out and about, and when I meet somebody say, yeah, this guy's in the water. They say, well, yeah, okay, you are, then what's going on with such and such?
I know, I got drilled at the polling booth the other day.
Well, maybe we can ask our outside counsel in future scheduling conferences to just be more forceful in trying to get an earlier date rather than a later date for things, because I know, often the judge will say, well, proposes a date, and then Cal-Am will say, no, we can't do it then, we have vacations scheduled or whatever, and it'll end up being 6 months later.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly what happened in our last
Yeah.
case.
October
And we were
19.
Pretty forceful in terms of trying to push it forward.
Yeah.
For Cal-Am, and then the courts do accommodate schedules, and so that's why I got bumped out to October.
And,
But we'll continue to.
and our judge couldn't count. Cal-Am said, oh,
6
I need
months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And the judge says, well, why don't we look for something in the middle, maybe 3 months? Any dates available in August? March, April, May, June, July, August, 6.
That's not pretty.
yeah, I remember our counsel said we could be ready in a month, I think
Yeah.
he said, yeah.
Yeah, well, good point, I think, about arguing for an earlier date.
We'll continue to try to expedite it as best we can.
Yeah, good.
So just in general, what are we looking toward? What decision in 26 decisions we hope will be made in 20? You don't expect Apple Valley in 6 to 10 months or so, or what?
Yes. So I would imagine that the Supreme Court will have an opinion out probably after Labor Day, but before the end of the year.
Okay, well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
It's 2026.
And remember that'll dictate the kind of the level of evidentiary proof that you need, as well as the discretion of the judge in terms of, is it a new trial that's wide open, or is it deferential to the decision of, in our case, the district?
The findings of necessity.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so it, kind of sets the ground rules for how he should review our right to take trial. But because our motion for summary adjudication and their motion for summary judgment was kicked down the road, that's where this latent powers issue becomes a mini bench trial instead of him ruling from the bench at that time on those motions, which would have made things a little easier. So we go straight to the right to take trial. Didn't happen that way.
So what other court decisions there's kind of, you think are scheduled later this year or early next year?
We'll get a better sense as to where this is going after the October hearing, because that's the, latent powers issue.
Okay.
And then simultaneously, we'll be expecting that Supreme Court decision, and now we'll really kind of create a clear roadmap. So I don't want to project out where things are going to fall until after those two things come down. So October will have a clearer path forward, is what I'll say.
And so how about the Lone Star decision, which Judge Wills still has not ruled on? Does that have an effect with us? I know we're part of.
It does. It more on the viability of the desal plant in general, but they just scheduled a continuation of something for November 12th.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So it's unknown.
Yeah.
Good Lord, the hearing was 6 months ago or something, whatever that. I thought he was normally pretty
Yeah.
quick. Anyway,
Oh, well, yeah, when you were there
March
and I was there, we
26th.
thought it was almost over.
yeah.
Oh, no, they went back into full-blown testimony and court dates in March and April of this year. Yeah.
Wow. But I didn't.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts. Like, I thought you guys were done.
Okay, well, I've been a little antsy about that. Okay, well, okay, we're taking a valuable time. Still, it's informative. Okay, so the last item is just reviewing the special meeting, for the budget.
Agenda.
And starting early. Yeah, see, this the next agenda on June the 15th. Yeah. Well, I got
So
something.
it's just the regular board meeting. A new version was handed out to you.
Yeah.
And it's there's a 5:30 closed session where we will follow up on some of the discussion we had about the supply and demand proceeding and where direction was given at the last closed session. But then this other option was discussed, and we just want to let you kind of know where that has landed. So it's 5:30. And then everything else is kind of what you said at the outset, the consent calendar was pretty much today's agendized items. We do have a summary, item 13, you see summary of the jurisdictional allocation policies. We're just acting as kind of the central repository of what new housing slash water allocation policies jurisdictions have adopted. Next Tuesday, the county supervisors are to hear their proposed policy, so tomorrow, not next week. So hopefully, what you get in your packet will be reflective of whatever vote they take, and that'll be it. They're the last one that hasn't either decided to use their old policy or develop a new policy.
And they're recommending a new policy.
They are.
Yeah.
A number of the jurisdictions have decided to use their water release policy they're using water as a growth restriction. They're doing exactly what we tried to get out of the business of doing, saying water is not the limiting factor, that they're developing envelopes or limits for how many fixture units a home can have if it's a high priority versus a lower priority. And that in effect is using water as a limiting factor of house size. So, if you're in the unincorporated county and want 4 bathrooms, it's going to be a challenge. And so if you're, a wealthier person who wants 4 to 5 bathrooms, it's not on the.
You may have to wait in line.
Yeah. Which is how it was with my bathrooms as a kid.
Is there anything on the agenda about the citizens panel? Any updates
We'll
to?
probably have an update in July.
Okay. Out of curiosity, do you have a full panel?
Carmel pass a policy to give priority to affordable.
We're on a committee discussion, so let's speak loud enough that we can all hear this. Okay, well, any more comments or additions to anything that you want to add?
Oh, I just want to also highlight 18, you will adopt the budget, hopefully. And item 20, there should be a memorandum in your closed session packet about legal options.
That's right.
Michael, I don't know if we're still on track for something like that.
Yeah, that will go on after the fact.
Yeah.
I get a step of, I'm really confident in that.
Yeah, but based on things that we talked about relative to the potential for legal action, we'll discuss in open session.
Okay. Very good.
Alvin happy.
Having the discussion will make Alvin.
Nothing more. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I mean, it's